Accidents can occur even at relatively weird and dangerous road slides. Still, there are certain mountains that command respect and caution from even the most experienced climbers. There are mountains that continue to inspire awe and anxiety decades after their first ascents. Here are 10 of the world's deadliest mountains. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like these. Number 10. Mont Blanc Massif. The tallest mountain in the Alps has a long history of climbing and climbing accidents. In 1786, its first summit by Jacques Balmat and Michael Picard was hailed as the start of modern mountaineering. Mont Blanc is among the most heavily trafficked mountains in the world, and about 20,000 people summiting yearly, but all of its routes have the hazards of falling rock and avalanches. During peak season, rescue services have been known to average 12 missions per weekend, and it has the highest fatality rate of any mountain in Europe, with estimates at 100 deaths per year. They've described the reason for the mountain's deadliness as the frequent portrayal of Mont Blanc as a long walk and not a challenging climb. At 15,777 feet, Mont Blanc is the highest mountain in the Alps and the tallest in Western Europe. It's also the most deadly. Estimates put the average death toll on the mountain around 100 per year. What makes Mont Blanc so deadly is not its height or technical climbing. Well, it's the easy access. Number 9. Denali in Alaska. The highest peak in North America is also one of the most isolated and prominent in the world. A huge challenge of Denali is the time it takes to climb. With expeditions lasting 2 to 4 weeks, Denali is climbed yearly, but only around half of those who attempt it reach the top. Denali is prone to earthquakes, and the combination of high altitude and extreme latitude also means altitude sickness kicks in much faster. At the equator, a peak this size would have about half as much oxygen at the summit than at sea level. Because of the latitude, the percentage on Denali is far lower. Number 8. Mount Washington in New Hampshire. To experience a deadly mountain a little closer to home, look no further than this New Hampshire peak. Rapidly shifting weather, hurricane-force winds, and summer ice pellets scouring this slope have claimed more than 100 lives. Mount Washington boasts some scary stats. The highest wind velocity ever recorded at any surface weather station, 231 miles per hour, was logged here on April 12, 1934, and almost 150 fatalities have occurred since 1849. Several weather patterns collide on Washington and produce its notoriously foul weather, which can move in quickly. In 60-mile-per-hour winds, hiking becomes nearly impossible. Traveling north along the Crawford Ridge from Washington's summit, hikers routinely and unknowingly get blown off course by powerful westerly winds, which shove them down off the ridge into the Great Gulf or the Dry River Valley. Number 7. SIULA Grande, HUAYHUASH Range. In 1985, the duo of Joe Simpson and Simon Yates, whose journey was chronicled in the book and film Touching the Void, attempted the western face of SIULA Grande. It was a sheer vertical ascent that had never been completed. SIULA Grande is an imposing mountain in the Andes, with sheer south and west faces. Simpson and Yates made it to the summit, but Simpson fell during the descent, breaking his leg. Then Yates, lowering the injured Simpson down by rope, lost sight of him over a cliff. After an hour passed, with his position slipping away and Simpson unable to secure himself, Yates cut the rope. Incredibly, Simpson survived the 100-foot fall into a crevasse. After the next 3 days, he subsisted on melted snow and hopped the 5 miles back to camp. He arrived shortly before Yates, who assumed Simpson had perished, was due to depart for home. Number 6. Mount Everest, Nepal-China border. With its marquee status, it would be easy to assume that Mount Everest is the deadliest mountain of them all, but pound for pound, Everest claims a fairly small percentage of climbers considering the number of attempts every year. Since 2000, it has seen 1.4 fatalities for every 100 summits. In its history, it has more than 7,500 recorded summits. As predicted, there are a record number of climbers this year. Nepal has issued 374 climbing permits to foreigners as of April 16th. There are 364 people on the Tibetan side, 208 Nepalese Sherpa, 144 foreigners, and 12 Chinese climbers. The biggest headlines so far are efforts by the Chinese and Nepalese governments to remove tons of trash that's accumulated after decades of climbing, and the debate over what to do with the bodies of climbers who have died on the mountain as shrinking glaciers expose more corpses. No other topic attracts more attention around Mount Everest than dead bodies. A total of 295 people have died on both sides of the mountain since 1924. Both Nepal and China have said they will remove the remains of more dead climbers this year. Number 5. Matterhorn, Switzerland-Italy border. With its first ascent in 1865, the Matterhorn has since gained in popularity and development. Easy access to high points on the mountain lead to the serious dangers of inexperienced climbers on over-trafficked routes. These days, the principal danger on the Matterhorn is its popularity, with overeager tourists sending loose rocks onto the heads of fellow climbers below. Storms are also common during afternoons of summit season. This mountain sees an average of about 12 deaths per year, with more than 500 deaths since its first ascent. Number 4. Kanchenjunga, India-Nepal border. In 1999, a new James Bond novel found the super spy trekking up Kanchenjunga's dramatic ridges. Bond may have stopped to admire the gorgeous view, but as our hero knows well, looks can be deceiving. Avalanches and bitter cold have made this one of the deadliest mountains in the world. Kanchenjunga, also spelled Kanchenjunga or Kanchenjunga, Nepali Kumkaran-Lungar, world's third largest mountain, with an elevation of 28,169 feet, or 8,586 meters. It is situated in the eastern Himalayas on the border between Sikkim State, northeastern India, and eastern Nepal, 46 miles or 74 kilometers north-northwest of Darjeeling, Sikkim. The mountain is part of the Great Himalaya Range. The Kanchenjunga Massif is in the form of a gigantic cross, the arms of which extend north, south, east, and west. Number 3. K2, Pakistan-China border. The second highest mountain in the world, this peak has a grim reputation, especially when it comes to female climbers. The first woman to reach the summit was legendary Polish climber Wanda Rutkiewicz, who got to the top in June 1986. Over the next 18 years, all 5 female climbers who summited this peak were killed. 3 died during the descent down K2, and 2 others on nearby mountains. In 2017, Vanessa O'Brien became the first American woman to summit K2. K2 is a savage mountain that tries to kill you, according to American climber George Bell. Rising steeply above the Karakoram Range along the Pakistan-China border and battered by atrocious weather, this pyramid-shaped mountain has always been the ultimate challenge for the world's best mountaineers. In 2008, in the worst accident in its history, 11 climbers perished trying to climb K2. The remoteness and long approach of K2 make expeditions extremely resource-intensive and lengthy. It's known for bad weather and avalanches, claiming the lives of nearly 10% of those who attempt it. Number 2. Nanga Parbat in Gilgit, Baltistan, Pakistan. Known affectionately as Killer Mountain, this craggy monster in Pakistan is an enormous ridge of rock and ice. Nanga Parbat is the 9th highest in the world, and its southern side is what many call the tallest mountain face on the planet. The Rapal face rises 15,090 feet above its base. Nanga Parbat is in the west of the Himalayas and is the most western of the mountains, higher than 8,000 meters. It lies just south of the Indus River in the Astor district of the northern areas in the region of Kashmir. Not far to the north is the western end of the Karakoram Mountains. Nanga Parbat is the highest peak in the Nanga Parbat range. The range covers an area of 120 miles or 190 kilometers in length and 12 to 24 miles or 19 to 39 kilometers in width. In the east, it joins the Pir Panjal Range. The steep incline of its peak that rises above the ground far below make Nanga Parbat a difficult and dangerous climb. Many deaths in the mid and early 20th century gave it the nickname of Killer Mountain. This peak was the subject of German interest in the 1930s, when only Britain had access to Mount Everest. German climbers saw Killer Mountain as the highest mountain reasonably scalable by climbers at the time. But that doesn't mean it was easy. Nanga Parbat claimed 31 lives before it was conquered by Austrian Hermann Buhl in 1953. Number 1. Annapurna in central Nepal. On this mountain, the 10th highest in the world, 191 climbers have summited the avalanche-prone peak. About 63 have died climbing, making Annapurna's fatality rate of 33% the highest among 8,000-meter mountains. While Annapurna was the first 8,000-meter peak to be climbed, it remains a challenge and an attraction. The region surrounding Annapurna is popular for hiking and was the site of what many call Nepal's worst ever trekking disaster. In 2014, a snowstorm struck, causing avalanches and the deaths of 43 people. Almost 6 feet of snow fell in 12 hours, and more than 500 people needed rescue. Have you ever visited any of the deadliest mountains? If so, how was your experience? Let us know in the comments below.